The New York Knicks are celebrating their first NBA title since 1973 after knocking off the Spurs in 5 games. Jalen Brunson capped off an incredible postseason run with 45 points in the championship clincher last night, securing Finals MVP honors in the process. Up in Northeast Ohio, the Guardians picked up a 3-1 win over Detroit thanks to a 2-run blast from Daniel Schneemann. But the bigger story for Cleveland is the status of Jose Ramirez. The Gardo's all-star third baseman suffered a fractured left hand and now faces an uncertain timetable for his return. The Reds got a 2-1 victory over the Diamondbacks yesterday. They're back on again today at 1:40. Coverage begins right here on The Fan at 1:10. In the NBA, the Cavaliers are monitoring a situation involving James Harden, who was arrested in Houston early yesterday morning and charged with a misdemeanor weapons offense. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Live and local, it's time for Fan Sports Sunday. If the weekend is a big desert for sports talk, think of this show as an oasis.
Yes, here we go.
Come drink from our pool of hot takes as you quench your thirst with. I thought I was going somewhere, but I'm not. So let's just start the show.
Welcome into a Fan Sports Sunday, and it's going to get weird for the second time ever because it's the second edition of Dylan and Dylan on a Fan Sports Sunday. Isaiah Jacob is behind the glass as well, and we got to figure out a way to communicate on the air between the three of us, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that up to Isaiah. You're Dylan Gonzalez, I'm Dylan Tyre. It also doesn't get much easier if you do the initials, DG and DT, with the rhyming there. So, Isaiah,
too close.
We've got a couple of hours here. Figure it out by the end of the show, and we'll use that going forward.
I struggled with this last time. As soon as I saw you guys walk in this morning, I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm going to talk to you all, but I'm just going to throw things back at you, and you guys can just grab it.
Yeah,
perfect.
I mean, so obviously we can get to the biggest thing last night. The Knicks won the Larry O'Brien Trophy, and they're your NBA champions. They beat the Spurs in 5 games. I guess during their run in the postseason, I picked the Knicks to beat the Spurs, so we'll start there. But if I'm not going to act like I picked the Knicks to win in October, and I don't think most people did. So, and I don't. T-Bone tells me in the mornings that this is too much of an in the weeds take. So let me ask you if you feel the same way. I think the Thunder are still the best team in the NBA. I think there was not enough talked about how many injuries they went through. Their second best player, Jalen Williams, he was a second-team All-NBA last year, and then he basically missed the whole Western Conference Finals, and people were acting like, I feel like it wasn't talked about enough.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think that, so much focus gets put on SGA, so much focus gets put on Chet, and obviously they have a tremendous supporting cast around, I guess, the big three in Chet, SGA, and Jalen Williams, but they're missing Jalen Williams, right? And I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't get talked about as enough or as much, and maybe it is the whole SGA thing and being the MVP, but he is a big piece there. Obviously, he's that second guy. He's the number 2 to SGA, and on some nights he can take over and be the number 1. So much of that series against the Spurs was Chet getting bullied by Wemby. That was a huge story.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you. Like, I still think the Thunder are the best team in the NBA. They're going to be right back next year. We're truly blessed. I think these Western Conference Finals are going to be amazing for years to come, assuming Wemby continues to ascend. The Spurs and OKC, that's going to develop into a tremendous rivalry, I think.
Yeah, I think the reason why that rhetoric wasn't there from the fans' perspective is for some reason this hate for OKC just developed, I feel like grassroots. And we're acting like the Thunder are like the Warriors or the Bulls or like some dynasty that we're like, oh man, I'm tired of them winning. They won 1 championship, and then people got fatigued of them immediately. I don't know if it's like the flopping with SGA and
that's what it is. It's the social media hate because of the SGA flopping, and all of that gets kind of overblown. I think he's still a tremendous basketball player, and what he does to get to the line is unique. But I mean, they are a very good team, and they are set up for years to come with the youth, the contracts, the draft capital. Fascinated to see what OKC does this offseason, because there are chances they could do some things like a lot of other teams in the NBA. But all of this to say, I don't think anybody expected the New York Knicks to win the NBA title. you said going back to October, even when the playoffs started, I don't think anybody thought the Knicks would be there. The Celtics were probably the favorites out of the East, right? They weren't the number one seed in the East. That was the Pistons, believe it or not. But, the Knicks, they proved that that's just a team of dogs, man.
Yeah, man. If you even go into the first round, they were down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks. I would love to go back and see what the odds were for the Knicks to win a championship when they were down 2-1 to the Hawks. But I mean, also going back to the second reason why I think people were down on OKC, it was because I think the NBA is in a rush to anoint Wemby. And I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not who everyone thinks he is. But he's still 22 years old. And the Spurs, I believe they missed the playoffs last year. So this was their first season in the playoffs with Wemby. And I'm one of those people, there's an exception or two, maybe once a decade in any sport. But I believe when it comes to especially the major ones, there's levels to this. And you're not just going to go from missing the playoffs to winning the championships. The Knicks have been through the ringer. They've been through kind of similarly, I feel like, and we're going to talk about this in the next break. I think the Cavs they look in the mirror and they see the Knicks. They're like, this could be us. They built it. They had a little bit of a core with Jalen Brunson and then the Nova Knicks, and then they changed it a little bit and brought in Cat. And I feel like that's how the Cavs see themselves. They're like, we have the core with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And then, okay, maybe we made a little tweak with James Harden. And then maybe with the full season of these guys, we could be the Knicks next year. And I feel like that's how sports work. You can't just make the jump. Even if you have a player as good as Wemby, I was hearing people saying Spurs sweep, Spurs in 5. And I'm like, the Knicks are the veteran, battle-tested team. The Spurs just got here.
Yeah, and that was kind of the sentiment going into the playoffs, right? That whoever came out of the West would likely win the title going away. And when the Celtics were eliminated, that was really the sentiment, that it was either going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs. And I'm with you. And it was even surprising for people. And I think, to your point, folks thought the Spurs would beat the Knicks handily because they beat OKC. And everybody was like, okay, while they haven't gone through that pain of losing in the playoffs before, it kind of looks like they're ready right now. And then when it got to the NBA Finals, I think it was apparent that they were not ready. And that starts from the top down. Mitch Johnson, their head coach, I thought he was bad in this series. The second halves by the Spurs in this series. Here's a stat from ESPN Analytics. In the 4 games the Spurs lost the NBA Finals, they had a 91.6% chance of winning Game 1, up 13 points midway through the third. A 72.8% chance of winning Game 2, up 2 points with a minute left in the fourth. A 99.6% chance of winning Game 4, up 20 points with 9:33 left in the fourth quarter. And then a 95.4% chance of winning Game 5 yesterday, up 10 points with 7:54 left in the fourth. That's incredible. The Knicks they're just built a little bit different, right? If they get it to 10, 12 points with 8 minutes left, look out. That team, it feels like they're leading at that point.
Yeah, there was a few. Game 1, Game 3 specifically, and a little bit last night, it very much felt like a veteran team doesn't lose that game.
No way. Game 4, no way, up 29 points.
Or I said Game 3, I meant Game 4.
Absolutely not.
And it's kind of disappointing. I don't know. This might be dramatic. I don't know if you can bring De'Aaron Fox back to this team.
Yeah, man, he was in some big moments. He was very, very bad. And it's fascinating, to go back to Game 4, De'Aaron Fox is the guy getting dragged after that loss. If it goes the other way, Josh Hart is getting dragged the exact same way for the Knicks. He misses that layup/dunk to take the lead, and then he didn't box out Stephon Castle down low that led to that putback for Castle at that point. So, and then the script completely flips, and it's De'Aaron Fox. And, I didn't think he was great in the game yesterday either. But, I think you have to include Wemby in that too. The guy has stuff to add to his game. And if he continues on the ascent that people think he is on, he's going to be a lot to deal with. But Jalen Brunson was the guy last night. He is a clutch player.
Yeah. Our boss Fish sent us me, Joshua, and T-Bone, he sent us a huge list of things that didn't exist before the Knicks. This is their first title since 1973. And I thought that this was a short list, but then I actually clicked on the tweet, and it's about like 5 pages worth of stuff. So I'll skim through some of them. No Apple, Star Wars, Pac-Man, ESPN, Wi-Fi, Home Depot, Saturday Night Live. That wasn't a thing. Foot Locker, eBay, Dell, YouTube, Red Bull, Panera. No Minnesota Timberwolves, not even a franchise yet, or the Orlando Magic. The Dallas Mavericks didn't exist. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Dallas Mavericks, how do you draft Jalen Brunson and Luka? Get rid of both of them.
Yeah,
and then Jalen A winning a championship and B winning one before Luka. Like the egg's been all over the face of the Dallas Mavericks, but yeah. I feel like this is like another layer to that. Jalen Brunson winning the championship and being the Finals MVP.
Yeah, when you put everything in perspective, it's incredible. You know, you talk about those things that weren't invented yet. The Saturday Night Live one is hilarious because SNL has been on forever. But you know, the Brunson thing too, putting that in perspective of, you know, the Mavericks had he and Luka, obviously, and he wins, and he's become this incredible player. I mean, where does Brunson stack up right now among the best players in the NBA? He's the Finals MVP.
I was thinking about that earlier, and I still think, despite the fact that he won Finals MVP, I still like discriminate against him because of his size.
Yeah, he's a different style player, right? But there's something about the guy. Like, he just gets it done in crunch time.
Like last night, obviously he finished the game well, but I remember watching in the second half thinking like the Spurs had a real shot to just knock out the Knicks, and Jalen Brunson would just not let them.
Yeah. 100%.
Like he was just like, you know what? No one else on this team is making shots. I will just take all the shots.
He scored half their points last night.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So congrats to the Knicks. Congrats to Jalen Brunson. The Cavs offseason got off to a bad start. We'll tell you how next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Hey, friends, if you want to witness the world's biggest soccer tournament in person, well, look no further than Twin Peaks. Enter the Twin Peaks Go for Goal giveaway presented by Michelob Ultra and Casamigos, and you could be one of 5 grand prize winners who get the VIP treatment plus travel and lodging. For your chance to win unmatched views of the match, visit TwinPeaksSoccer.com to enter and choose your host city. Entries close June 14th, so don't wait. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Common Man here for my friends at Care Heating and Cooling. Summertime napping season is upon us. What's that mean? Well, that means for me, a little nap on the leather couch. I got the ceiling fan on, but if that AC's not working properly, that nap turns into crap. Am I right? You got to make sure that AC's in tip-top shape, and the only people to call are my friends at Care Heating and Cooling. The message on their homepage says, we care about your comfort, because they do. If you're not comfortable in your own home, they start to get itchy and scratchy. Here's what you need to know about my friends at Care. They've won the Lennox Centurion Award for 17 years in a row. Now, if you're not in the biz, you don't know what that is, but I'm going to tell you, it's given to the top 5% of Lennox dealers in the country each year. Their service techs are the best in the business, and there's not a problem they can't solve, except maybe the meaning of life. They had no answer when I asked them. But think about living without central AC. Mess you up. My friends at Care also have easy online scheduling. CareHeatingandCooling.com. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING when you need a company you can trust.
Thinking about making the switch to hybrid or even all electric? Germain Honda of Dublin has you covered. Explore the Honda hybrid lineup, including the Accord Hybrid, CR-V Hybrid, and Civic Hybrid. Or experience Honda's all-electric Prologue SUV. You'll get the efficiency you want, the reliability Honda is known for, and great offers available across the lineup. See why more Central Ohio drivers are choosing Honda electrified vehicles at Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road or online at GermainHondaofDublin.com.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps Seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
Join T-Bone and Tyvis mornings on The Fan for football, food, and fun, featuring T-Bone.
Now, when you were talking about the football stuff, I was listening, but when you said Waffle House, I leaned forward in my chair.
And national champ Tyvis Powell.
I was staring myself in the mirror for a good 10 minutes today looking at it.
Where they solve all the world's complex problems.
We're not putting the toothpaste back in the toothpaste container.
Sponsored by Capital Ford of Columbus.
Football, food, and fun with T-Bone and Tyvis. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on The Fan.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds, but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. And I never had much left because I always had to be ready to move. Why get things if you just have to let them go?
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part, knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
How do you know your home? At Habitat for Humanity, we believe it's when you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Not because of chance, but because of high costs and other very real barriers. A housing crisis this big needs all of us. So let's open the door to opportunity and build a tomorrow where home is possible for everyone. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. Again, that's Habitat.org. Habitat for Humanity. Let's open the door.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, ooh, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're going to see some scattered showers a little earlier and then a better chance for stronger storms later this afternoon. We're going to see lots of heavy rain and some gusty winds, though. The good news is humidity drops tonight, setting up for a nice cooler couple days on your Monday and Tuesday with highs in the 70s and low dew points. I'm your 10 Weather Impact meteorologist, Lily Aldrich, with 97.1 The Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan. We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
So the Cavs offseason didn't get off to the start that they thought it would because yesterday morning, Cavs guard James Harden was arrested and been charged with a misdemeanor unlawful carrying of a weapon. I didn't even know you could get a gun charge in Texas, but he found a way to do so. According to Harris County court records, Harden was taken into custody at 3:41 a.m. when a handgun was observed on the seat of the car he owns. Harden is expected to opt out of his player option, but also expected to sign a multi-year deal with the Cavs. Not quite the start that they hoped for, but what do you think the Cavs should do in this offseason, and what do you think they should do with the likes of James Harden, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, etc.?
James Harden going to James Harden,
yes.
Isn't he? Guy loves being in the news.
He was for sure on the way home from the strip club. I would bet a lot of money on that.
Well, I think all of this starts right with handling some of the cap issues, and that'll begin with the extension of James Harden.
Right.
As you talked about there, the expectation he'll decline that player option. They'll sign him long-term for less money to create a little bit of flexibility for themselves. I think it became very apparent in the playoffs that the Cavs need to get better defensively. And they probably need a sharpshooter, right? A guy that can bang threes, essentially, a 3-and-D guy on the wing. So how do you do that? it's not like they have a wealth of picks like Oklahoma City where you can trade all of these lottery picks and get a big star that way. And there are names out there, right? Like people have floated Giannis, people have floated LeBron James, some smaller names, I guess, maybe better players, but smaller names out there as well. I think it's probably, if you want to do something major and maybe pave the way for Mobley, it's maybe a Jared Allen trade. Like he's the centerpiece of a trade, and you let Mobley kind of fill a role and get another guy to play with Donovan Mitchell and James Harden that way. I mean, what do you think the options are? Because it feels to me that things are kind of limited.
So I work with a crazy person named Tyvis Powell. He, in February during the trade deadline, he knew before it was even reported, but he didn't want to say it on the air for some reason. He said that there was a Giannis trade in place, and then it got poo-pooed from inside the organization. And he told me who that person was. And then about 4 or 5 months later, all the national guys come out saying the same thing. Like, hey, they almost got Giannis, and then it just didn't work out. According to Tyvis, that person who did not want Giannis was Donovan Mitchell. He wanted to roll. He wanted Evan Mobley to be his running mate. And now Tyvis, because he's a crazy person, he's like, it's too late. I don't want Giannis now. We wasted a year, essentially. I wouldn't go that far. I think you still go and get Giannis. I know this organization, and apparently Donovan Mitchell as well, is super high on Evan Mobley. I don't see it. I see him as a decent defensive player of the year. I don't see him as like a 1B option offensively. Like I think like a lot of optimistic Cavs personnel and fans think I don't think he's ever going to be that. And I don't think Donovan Mitchell's a number one on a championship team either. So I think you have to bring in Giannis. I think you must bring in Giannis. And honestly, I would like to see, I know it's unrealistic, and I admit that I am a huge LeBron guy. I want to see them find a way to bring in LeBron too, but I don't see how they do it because they, not to get too far in the weeds, but it looks like they're not going to be able to use like a mid-level exception type thing on him. I know he's going to be 42 next year, but I don't see him taking a vet minimum. He's still a top 20 player in the NBA. Like, I still think he's going to want his value. I think he still wants to play in LA. So I don't know if the LeBron thing is going to happen, even though a lot of people want to see it just for nostalgia purposes. And he can still contribute. And in this scenario, he would be the third best player on your team if you bring in Giannis, and then you got Donovan Mitchell and then LeBron. But I think Giannis should be their priority this offseason.
I mean, I think if you can go out and get the guy, you should absolutely try and do it. I think it makes them a better team. What sort of role does Giannis play? You know, because Donovan Mitchell has been the guy there for the last couple of seasons, right? And they bring in James Harden. He's a running mate. We've talked about Evan Mobley and obviously what Mitchell thinks about him. How do you think they sort of balance things between Giannis and Mitchell if that were to happen?
I think it... See, here's
Giannis needs the ball, man.
I'm about to get frustrated because it's the Cavs thinking what they should do is just say, Giannis, you're the dude. But they have like this obsession with Donovan Mitchell, and it's because it's like, oh, he picked us. He picked us. He chose. He could have left, and he chose to re-sign us, and now they put him on this pedestal, and I think they don't see him for what he is because of that. They're like, this guy wanted to be here, and we want to win with him as the guy. And the problem is that I don't think that that's realistic.
I agree 100%. I don't think that he can be the number one guy. Getting Giannis would be fantastic, but I understand why Donovan doesn't want to play with Giannis, because I think Giannis could be a difficult player to play with at the power forward position, just because obviously he can't shoot, which is difficult, and then that takes the ball out of Donovan's hands. Like, for him, he wants to be the guy. And if Giannis comes to the Cavs, we can all agree in this room, he would be the 1A guy that you would want having the ball in their hands. For me, the biggest frustration in this is that it's been evident for the Cavaliers that the weakness on their team for the past 4 seasons has been the wing position. That they haven't had a strong wing. We saw in the playoffs this year, they were starting at the 3, either Dean Wade or Max Strus throughout the entire season. And Max played great, but he's not a small forward. Like, he isn't a small forward. And when Dean Wade plays, he can be a small forward, but gives you absolutely nothing on offense. And they tried to bring in DeAndre Hunter 2 years back, and that was supposed to fill that role. And when they did that, I was super excited. I was like, finally, we get the wing guy that can contribute on offense and guard Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum when you play the Celtics in the playoffs. But that's the one position for the Cavs where they need that. We saw with the Knicks last night, that OG and an Obi. That's what they need. I mean, it's the one position on their team that they really can't figure out. And it's the most important position also in basketball, the small forward position.
And you bring up the Celtics. If the Celtics are the team to get Giannis, this era of the Cavs cooked. Over. I don't think they bounce back from that. I just don't. I think what I think they're going to do is not what I think they should do, but what they're going to do, and I brought it up in the opening break, I really think they could be next year's Knicks. I really think they think that. I really think they think if they just keep pounding on the door that eventually it's going to open up,
but you
and they're going to win the championship.
Right? Like what Isaiah just highlighted right there, it obviously wasn't good enough. They were swept by the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even close.
It wasn't close.
Analytically, it was close, though.
Right. That sure.
Yes.
Sure. So, okay, if they don't get Giannis, and let's say that Giannis does not go to the Celtics. Let's say Giannis goes to the Heat or somebody like that. What do the Cleveland Cavaliers do? Or do they do anything?
I think they have to. You trade Jared Allen and you get like the wing equivalent, whoever that is, whoever their scouting department decides what it is, like, because everyone talks about, oh man, Jared Allen, and he's a staple in the back line of the defense, a defense that stinks. Like, I'm not saying it's his fault in the slightest.
Yeah.
And you have Evan Mobley, who's how do they have those two guys in their starting lineup and just stink on defense? That's really hard to do. They need people who can actually guard the ball. And they don't have it. I don't know. I think you go, I'm with them going full-blown Avengers and trying to bring in Giannis and LeBron. And there's I brought up my crazy coworker. He's like, yeah, let's go ahead and figure out a way to bring Kyrie back to
Oh my goodness.
Like, oh yeah, let's Kevin Love, is he officially retired? I don't know. Let's get him on the roster. Let's just combine the 2016 team with this team and see what we can do.
What about a guy like Trey Murphy?
Yeah. You see,
like you trade Jared Allen, you get Trey Murphy, maybe make some smaller moves around that to bolster depth. Does that move the needle for you?
I don't think it's enough. Someone, I hate to keep bringing up Tyvus, but someone who he wanted and he got, because he does media up in Cleveland too, Drew Holiday. It's like, yeah, he's older, but he averages like 16 a game and he can still lock somebody up.
Is that enough though?
I don't think that's enough either.
Yeah.
I think I said it already. It's got to be Giannis. If they don't bring in Giannis, I don't think this group of Cavs are winning an NBA championship. How are drug raid and Peru and the World Cup all related? We'll tell you how next in 2 minutes on a Fan Sports Sunday.
Get Eco.
Jerry, you're the kind of guy who likes to save money while you do good for the planet, right?
Well, that's why I invented the biodegradable doggy poop bag, Aaron. I'm ecological and economical.
Well, usually the most economical thing you can do when your air conditioner dies is get it repaired. A quick fix can give you years more service.
That sounds economical.
But with older models, those repairs can get pretty expensive, and it'll still use way more energy than a newer model does.
Which is less ecological and less economical.
Get Eco.
You see where I'm going with this, Jerry?
I sure do. As hard as it is to toss out your old AC and replace the whole thing, it could actually be cheaper in the long run.
Get Eco.
Are you really a big deal in the poop bag industry, Jerry?
The doggos love me, Aaron.
Get Eco.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
I'm Jeff Hogan. I've been a journalist at 10 TV for more than 20 years. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to speak up, or lend a hand. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, We're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
It's time for sun and savings at Great Lakes Hyundai. Right now, get a new 2060 Elantra SE for $59 per month for a 2-year lease. Just $59 a month for the drive into summer sale. This month only. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with owner assurance and America's best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. With approved credit $39.95 down plus tax title first month payment. 7,500 miles per year and 7.6.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
All right, this is my favorite story from the week as police in Peru took a novel approach to clamping down on drug trafficking Wednesday as they conducted a raid disguised as the 2026 World Cup mascots. A video posted to their TikTok account. I didn't know police had TikTok accounts, but I'm also not on TikTok, so I guess I'm not surprised. But dressed as Clutch the Bald Eagle, Maple the Moose, they broke through a gate with a battering ram before arresting a man in a white vest. And of course, that white powder and guns is what they got out of all of this. But man, what a way to just be undercover and make an arrest during the World Cup is to just dress up like World Cup mascots.
I feel like this is something you see in like a 2006 Will Ferrell flick. Like he dresses up as the mascot at the Super Bowl or something and breaks, like it's a Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell combo movie.
Maybe Kevin Hart would be in that.
Yeah,
as well.
a real buddy cop style thing here. I guess, to your point, Peruvian TikTok must be popping with different police stations there. That's incredible.
Yeah, and I guess they did this in Valentine's Day 2025. They did a very similar thing where they dressed up as Marvel superheroes and did a bust.
So is this like a bit that they do, or is it like an actual police method?
I thought like police stuff is like some of the most serious stuff that is like dealt with on Earth, but they're not taking it too seriously.
Yeah,
they're still having a good time.
I can't tell you off the top of my head what crime in Peru is like, but it sounds like these guys, they've got it going on. A little bit of entertainment, a little bit of doing their job mixed in.
Like, could you imagine if you're a criminal in Peru? Like, you see a mascot now and you're like, oh crap, this is it. This is it. I'm done for.
And how embarrassing it is to like get taken down by somebody dressed as a mascot, reading you the Miranda rights, like dressed up as Brutus Buckeye or something. Imagine that.
Oh my God.
Imagine,
that would be awesome.
Think about that. Think about how many people might have warrants out at an Ohio State football game. I'm just spitballing here. There's 102,000 people at an Ohio State football game. More than a few have got to have warrants out, right? Think about walking and you see like 6 different Brutus Buckeyes on the concourse. Wait a second. I thought there was only one Brutus Buckeye. Just Columbus PD walking around, baby.
Yeah, they got all those concerts there. I saw Brutus was dressed up in his cowboy hat for Buckeye Country Superfest last night. Maybe do a little bust at a concert at the Shoe. Why not?
Handcuffs hidden under the hat.
That's right. But I bring this all up to ask you guys, how much World Cup are you guys watching? And are you in any way interested in Team USA?
Okay. I think you're a loser if you're not into the World Cup, especially when it's on your home soil. I'm not a soccer guy really at all. Like, I'll pay attention to what's going on. I have a general grasp of what's going on in the world of soccer. I'm not a soccer watcher, first of all, because I think, day to day, week to week, it's relatively boring, the games. And also, I have a busy sports schedule, and it doesn't quite fit in. But when the World Cup is going on, it brings everybody together. There's such a sense of unity around the World Cup. And the fact that it's on American soil, I think, is so cool. And you're seeing all these different people from other countries come over here, and you get to see a little bit of their culture and how into it they are. You got to get behind your team, right? It's exciting. It's like the Olympics. Everybody becomes a Team USA fan, no matter what the sport is in the Olympics. Don't poo-poo the World Cup. It's the biggest sporting event on the planet. And so I'm all in on Team USA. Was very happy to see them completely dominate the other night. And I'll be rooting and cheering for Team USA to go as far as they possibly can. I'm hoping they're able to make a little run here and surprise some people.
How about you, Isaiah? How much World Cup have you watched since I think it started on Thursday, I want to say?
It's funny because leading up to Team USA's game on Friday, my buddies started texting me on like Friday morning. They're like, should we do something for the game? Like, should we do a cookout? And it was kind of like everyone was kind of testing the waters, kind of like dipping a toe into it. There was some interest, but it was pretty general. And then I think the best thing that could have happened for the World Cup, at least in the United States, is for Team USA to do what they did on Friday, which was have an electric performance. Anybody who was like half in, the goal was immediate goal. 3 goals in the first half, and then everybody who was kind of watching it was completely glued. And I was sitting at a bar watching the game, and it was literally the picture perfect thing that could happen for Team USA, because now yesterday all my friends are texting me, what should we do next Friday? And it's hilarious because now we're a week in advance. Before it was like 4 hours in advance. We're trying to figure out plans, and now it's a whole week. Everybody can't wait for them to play next. Everyone's like, is it next Friday? Like, when is the next game? And I always think too, for like 4 sporting events, when you make a little run in the playoffs, or for Team USA, it can be exciting for everyone. And I even think about being in Columbus. We're kind of centrally located between a lot of like pro teams, the Bengals, the Browns, and sometimes that fever that's in Cleveland, if the Browns made a run in the playoffs, that would trickle down to Columbus a little bit, and there would be bandwagon fans that are excited for Cleveland. But that's in like 10x effect when it's Team USA, because everybody's patriotic. You might not be a Browns fan, you might not be much of a pro guy, but maybe you link into the Browns. But when it's Team USA and you're like, hey, I can always get down for America at the bars,
yes, sir.
All your friends. It makes it 10x more fun, where it's so much easier to jump on that bandwagon. So I think this next Friday will be a lot of fun. I'm not a soccer guy either, but I can get behind some World Cup.
And just think about the momentum that's going to continue to build as well. You said one game got you in. Really, one half, maybe even 10 minutes of that first half got you in, and now you want to plan with your friends to next week. Folks, the United States got a favorable group draw, and the United States should probably win their group. The momentum's going to continue to build. You know, if they deliver again next week and the week after that, it's only going to get more and more hyped up. And then when they advance on to the knockout stages, think about all the excitement at that point. You know, the momentum's going to be building for Team USA. Getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but like I said, favorable draw. I'm fired up about it. Go Team USA.
Yeah, the fan poll on Friday that someone put up, not saying it was me. Okay, it was me. But not a lot of people. It was like, how much World Cup are you going to watch? And it was like, not at all. USA only, most of the games, all of the games. And when I last checked it, it was like overwhelmingly like, I'm not checking this out at all whatsoever.
Who cares? Come on.
And you guys have me feeling bad, because all right, here's what happened. I'm going to tell you, okay? I didn't watch any of the game, but here's why, okay? So I was heading back home around the time that it was about to start, and my phone is just blowing up saying like, oh man, 7 minutes in, we scored, woo. And then it was like, 31 minutes in, and I was like, and then they scored right at the end of the first half, and I was like, I was fully prepared to watch the second half of this game, but why now? I don't need to now. Right. I know the result. It's over. So because it's like what you said benefited them just hopping over, just getting hot immediately was the reason why I personally didn't tune in. I was like, oh man, they were too hot.
You missed the fun.
Yeah, I missed all the action already. So I was like,
okay,
they're
now
gonna
a little
win. Cool.
Excited for the rest of the games?
Yes, I think I will make it a point to try to tune into the next one, because we were talking to Eric Reeser about this from Bishop and Friends, and we kind of were like in agreement that when everyone's going to really hop on is if they get out of pool play.
100%. Yeah.
That's when all the hype's going to happen, if they're able to do that. Because I remember, I think it was the 2010 World Cup where we kind of had like a similar game. I'll have to go back and look during the break, where it was like Landon Donovan scored a goal, I remember, really early in a game. And it's just like they got all the momentum, and then it just took off from there. And I feel like you talked about the patriotism, Isaiah, like, I feel like that's what it was. It was like patriotism combined with sports fandom just met at a perfect time in the 2010 World Cup. And I feel like as a nation, we were superly high invested in that World Cup. And they got to the knockout stage. I don't know if they won a game or not in the knockout stage.
So they won their group, and the way they won it was in incredible fashion. 91st minute, Landon Donovan scores to beat Algeria. They won a group with England in it, so that was a big deal. And then they were knocked out in the round of 16 by Ghana. So, yes, there was tons of hype that year, and I feel like we're hoping to feel similar things this go-around, right?
Yes. And who do they play in the next round? I know they played Paraguay last round.
They play Australia on Friday, I believe.
Australia, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who surprised some people, I think, last night. And I think people were expecting that to be another easy win for the Americans, but Australia looked okay yesterday. My brother actually went to the World Cup yesterday, and to the point that I'm making where it's like, just give it a try.
Yeah.
He went to the Brazil-Morocco game at New Jersey/New York Stadium, and he sent a text. Like, he didn't have a rooting interest in that game at all. He said, this is absolutely incredible. It's completely wild. So just give it a try, Give it a try, see what you think.
So we got Stanley Cup Game 6 tonight. We'll preview that and talk Jackets offseason next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Scotty Vegas here, and my wife caught me in the garage just staring at my beautiful new Bronco from Krieger Ford. I mean, I'm in love. The buying process at Krieger Ford was amazing. Quick, no pressure, fun, in and out so fast I couldn't believe it. I was prepared to spend all day looking at cars. Instead, I got my shiny new red Bronco out of the showroom in no time. If you're looking for a new car for the summer, visit Krieger Ford on Morse Road. Krieger Ford is my winning bet. Visit KriegerFord.com today.
Today, we're talking about how you don't have to earn more when you can save more. Okay, so you brought me this stat. T-Mobile customers had the lowest wireless bills versus Verizon and AT&T over the past 5 years. That seems surprising.
Yeah, when I first heard it, I thought, okay. But when the experts at HarrisX broke it down, it was true for millions of families.
They have a 5-year price guarantee on experience plans and America's Best Network, plus lower bills. I'm not hearing any sacrifice here.
Which is what people need right now. Reliability, predictability. Affordable wireless service isn't a perk. It's a difference. And listeners, if you don't believe me, you can check it out at T-Mobile.com/switch.
Best mobile network based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. Price guarantee on talk, text, and data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Based on HarrisX billing snapshots from Q3 21 to Q4 25 compared to average AT&T and Verizon bills. Comparison excludes discounts, credits, and optional charges. For more details, see harrisx.com/T-Mobile-bills.
Getting a little older doesn't have to mean, well, getting older. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you're feeling low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, or struggling with brain fog, or your sex drive is off, it's time to change it up. At Tri-State Men's Health, our advanced medical strategies featuring TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, and more treat low T and other hormonal issues to help you shed pounds, have more energy, enhance your body composition, improve sleep, increase your sex drive, and so much more, getting you back in the game again. So don't be older. Be stronger in the gym. Be sharper at work. Be better in the bedroom, and be more confident in every part of your life. So call us today and find out how our advanced treatment strategies could change the game for you. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on one of our advanced treatment plans on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
High energy bills? Your HVAC system could be the reason. Save up to $2,000 on a new HVAC system with Columbus Worthington Air. Smart homeowners know an old air conditioner can cost you more every month. Don't let it drain your wallet. Upgrade to efficient, reliable comfort with payment options that fit your budget. Backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Columbus Worthington Air and Bryant Heating and Cooling. Whatever it takes. Visit cwaohio.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 47543.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each. $30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Oak Cliff Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Think you know Buckeye football? These two say, hold my beer. The Beat with Austin and Berm.
Sponsored by the Waterworks.
Daily on the Fan's YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Sunday.
So in case you missed it, the New York Knicks are the 2026 NBA champions. We got Stanley Cup action tonight, and we could maybe have a champion in that sport as well, as Carolina leads the series over the Golden Knights 3-2. Game 6 is tonight in Vegas at 8 o'clock. What do you think of the matchup coming into tonight's game, Dylan?
Well, it's been an awesome Stanley Cup final so far, a back-and-forth series, and it feels like Carolina has a little bit of an edge right now. They've won back-to-back games. At one point, Vegas led this series 2-1, but I feel like Carolina has stolen some momentum winning back-to-back games. They won 5-3 in Vegas on Tuesday and then went home to Carolina and knocked off Vegas 4-2 on Thursday. William Karlsson is not going to play in this game for Vegas. He's an important piece for them. There's also questions surrounding their goaltender, Carter Hart, who's given up 4+ in each of the first 5 games of this Stanley Cup final. So while Carolina feels like it has the momentum, Vegas is a team that's been there before. They've already been to 2 Stanley Cup finals, now 3 in the franchise's existence. They've won one of those, and a lot of those players that won the Stanley Cup are still on this team. I think they're going to be an extremely hard out tonight. I think Vegas digs deep and finds a way to win this game to force a Game 7. And you know what? Anything can happen in Game 7, but that one would be on home ice for Carolina. So I think they would obviously be favored to win a Game 7 with that being at home. But tonight, I think we see Vegas dig deep and find a way to win this game. Carolina's going to be hungry to get it done, though. So I expect a really good one, which isn't any different than anything we've seen in the Stanley Cup final so far.
Yeah, I'm looking right now on ESPN. It has the money line. Hurricanes are the favorite, -115, but Golden Knights are right there, -105. So
essentially a pick 'em.
Essentially, yeah, a toss-up. And John Tortorella, the head coach of the Golden Knights, former Blue Jackets head coach, he had a couple of quotes after Game 5. He seems pretty confident that they'll be back.
Yeah, I thought we had a good start. We had a really good start. We lost momentum when we went back-to-back in penalties. It's about the same time that we lost Bill. We got to find a way. I'm going to leave my clothes here. That's for sure. They'll be in the hotel.
That's a great quote.
Torts is a quote machine, and that one's one of the very best right there. Who says that? I'm going to leave my clothes here, but that's Torts. I wonder if he actually did,
Yes.
What happens if they lose tonight? Do you think he makes the call to the hotel to be like, hey, can I get my clothes, or is it just a wash at that point? Leave them. Donate.
Fly to Carolina and get his clothes back. I don't know, but as most people know, Torts is a former Blue Jackets head coach, and since you're here, you're not the voice of the Blue Jackets. That's Bob McElligott, but you are the host of the Blue Jackets. Intermission, postgame, pregame, anything that's not the game action. Dylan Tyre, he's doing it. He's the voice of that. So I think it would be doing the listeners disservice if we didn't ask you what you think about the Blue Jackets offseason, how it's gone so far. They re-signed Charlie Coyle. Zach Werenski's getting all these awards and recognitions. Boone Jenner's futures in the air, how they're going to improve this team. You just start where you want to start, and we'll take your lead.
Yeah, it's obviously a really big offseason for the Columbus Blue Jackets for a lot of different reasons, right? They have some important unrestricted free agents. They got one of them locked up already in Charlie Coyle, which I think was a key. You know, the Blue Jackets extended Charlie Coyle for 6 more seasons, and he's already an older guy, 33, 34 years old, but he's just so consistent in what he does. He doesn't miss games. He's been to the playoffs every single season in his career, save this last one.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll start there. The Blue Jackets have been on the precipice for 2 consecutive seasons now, extremely close to making the Stanley Cup playoffs, but unfortunately couldn't get over that hump in the end. So obviously the big question going into the offseason is, how do we get over that hump? And I think the Blue Jackets want to add skill to their top 6 forward group. This past season was not a good one for Kent Johnson. The year prior, Kent Johnson was a huge piece and a huge reason that the Blue Jackets were even in the playoff conversation. This year, he didn't have that same production. So I don't think you can go into the year banking on that production being there, right? He just hasn't proven that he can do it on a consistent basis in the National Hockey League. So I think the Blue Jackets' goal is to go out and get somebody that can kind of fill that role, you know, a top 6 wing that can score. You know, I think the Blue Jackets already have lots of depth in the bottom 6. I think they have one of the better bottom 6s in the National Hockey League, and getting Charlie Coyle back is a big part of that. He's a player that can play up and down your lineup. But if you can get that skill, and it's out there this offseason. It really is out there this offseason. A lot of teams want to improve. That's the difficult thing. You know, so many teams fell just short of the playoffs, and all of the teams that made the playoffs and fell short of the Stanley Cup, they're going to want to get better too.
Right.
But I think there's going to be opportunity for the Blue Jackets kind of across the board. Like, there are names already out there, obviously. Brady Tkachuk's name has been out there. Dylan Larkin's name has been out there. You know, Jason Robertson's name has been out there a little bit. Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas from the St. Louis Blues, their names have been out there. Other names are going to pop up, and, you know, guys that maybe aren't even expected to be dealt might get dealt. So I think there's going to be opportunity for the Blue Jackets, and Don Waddell, their general manager and president of hockey operations, has already said that he would like to make a move and like to be aggressive, and he thinks there will be things out there this offseason. So I think that's priority number 1 for the Blue Jackets. And for me, I think one of the most underrated things that they could do this offseason is kind of shore up things defensively. I think the Blue Jackets' defensive depth came into question at the end of the season. Damon Severson had a really nice year for the Blue Jackets, but when he got hurt and missed the remainder of the season, that's really when they started to falter. So I think, you know, Zach Werenski could use some help back there. On the left side, the Blue Jackets feel really solid between Zach Werenski, Ivan Provorov, and Denton Mateychuk. You know, Damon Severson was very solid on the right side of the defense last year. Dante Fabro got signed last offseason. He kind of struggled this past year. And Eric Goodbranson, who's the other right shot D for the Blue Jackets, is an unrestricted free agent. You know, Darnell Nurse's name just got out there. He's requested a trade from the Edmonton Oilers. You know, in the articles that you read that say, you know, this could be a potential fit, et cetera, the Blue Jackets have popped up there. You know, Nurse isn't the superstar that he's necessarily paid to be. He's one of the highest paid defensemen in the NHL, but he's a solid, hard-nosed player. You know, if Edmonton were to retain some salary on that and the Blue Jackets brought in a player like that, that would obviously help them defensively. But for me, I think you can make some shrewd moves on that blue line to make this team better defensively. And if you're able to land that big fish in the forward group and, you know, then bank on some continued progression, you know, by a player like Adam Fantilli, that same consistency from a guy like Charlie Coyle, Kirill Marchenko starting to make some steps. You know, I think the Blue Jackets are going to be in a spot where they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot next year. And if they're able to get that big fish that's a consistent scorer, I'd be shocked if they didn't get into the playoffs next year.
So one of the big fish you mentioned is Dylan Larkin. For those who might not know, he requested a trade, but he doesn't have a full no trade clause, but he has I think it's a 10 team.
No, he's got a full.
Oh,
he's got a full no trade clause. So that is why this is so intriguing, because the Red Wings do not have a lot of leverage.
Yes.
So the way it worked with Larkin is initially he came out with a 3-team trade list. He said, you can trade me to one of these 3 teams. Those 3 teams: the Vegas Golden Knights, the Minnesota Wild, and the Florida Panthers. It makes the most sense for the Minnesota Wild it really doesn't make any sense for Florida or Vegas to trade for Dylan Larkin.
Right.
The question is, can a team like Minnesota provide a fair return for Dylan Larkin? Because he's a good player, but they just traded a boatload to get Quinn Hughes during the season from the Vancouver Canucks. They traded 3 of their top prospects. But that trade list is going to have to expand. And I think it has since expanded.
It did, yeah, on Friday.
My prediction initially was that he would not go to any of those 3 teams that were on his trade list, maybe Minnesota. But now that the trade list has expanded, I'd be very curious to see who is on that list.
And this part of this story, and I don't even know if it's really a story that I'm about to bring up, is that I feel like the national media, every time the Blue Jackets have a good player, they're like, oh, he's not going to be there for long.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be gone soon. So when this happened, Dylan Larkin and Zach Rowinski, were they roommates at Michigan, or were they just on the team together?
Yeah,
like,
so
I feel like that story is getting...
They're very good friends.
Yes.
I believe Zach's freshman year, they may have been roommates, but they're very good friends. They're still close. They're good buddies. And yeah, obviously, when Dylan Larkin requests the trade, people are like, oh, maybe to the Blue Jackets, maybe to the Blue Jackets. As the trade list expands, we don't know who is on that list. So it's certainly possible. I would love to land a player like Dylan Larkin. I think he scored 30 goals 4 or 5 consecutive seasons. He's a great piece, but he does play the center ice position. I was talking more about a winger for the Blue Jackets, but you're going to go out and try and get good players. I think everybody's made a call on Dylan Larkin, right?
Right. Well, what I was thinking, and this is my very basic hockey knowledge, you're the expert here. If the Jackets were to trade for Dylan Larkin, would someone like Adam Fantilli have to go in return?
No, I don't necessarily think so, especially with the position that the Red Wings are in right now. Off the top of my head, I think the package might be a little bit underwhelming compared to what people think. Like I had seen in the initial predictions some like big names out there being swapped for Dylan Larkin. I just think because the Red Wings are in such a tough position, the guy has a full no trade clause, right? So he can literally pick the team he wants to go to. I think the compensation for the Red Wings is going to be fair compensation, but I don't think it's going to be anything absolutely insane because they don't have a lot of leverage, right? Like you can't necessarily create a competitive market for the player because he is picking where he wants to go.
Right. Something to keep an eye on, the Dylan Larkin sweepstakes and what the Blue Jackets do this offseason. But coming up next, CBS Sports came out with the list of the best quarterbacks in the nation. We'll talk about it next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Everybody thinks they're a great driver. Outlaw Motor Speedway gives you the chance to prove it. Experience professional racing simulators, full motion rigs, and some of the world's iconic tracks right here in Grandview. Race your friends, join a league, or bring the office out for an unforgettable corporate event. And when the checkered flag drops, keep the night going with great food and drinks here or next door at Agave and Rye. Then climb back in the driver's seat and see who's got what it takes. Book your race today at outlawsimracing.com.
Relax and let Kroger Delivery handle your grocery shopping this week. We start with only the freshest items. Then we carefully pack your order in our refrigerated trucks, so your food stays cool and fresh on its way to your door. And right now, you can save $30 on your first pickup or delivery order and get unlimited free delivery. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
There's this thing repair people do nowadays.
Mappo's Plumbing. Sure, we do have a dispatch fee. It's $1 zillion.
A dispatch fee, a trip charge, going out to your house bill.
Bippity Bing Bong Electrical. Our trip charge is a nice new car.
But not Apex Pros, the pros who knows. When you call Apex for repairs on your AC, plumbing, or electric, there's no dispatch fee.
Thank you for calling Apex Pros. Why would we? Kinda silly to ask for money before we do anything, isn't it?
We give you an upfront price only after we know what's really going on. We think it's the right thing to do, instead of...
Slappy's AC, electric, plumbing, dry cleaning, haberdashery, and chiropractic. Of course we charge to come out. $1 kajillion, 3 diamond rings, and 2 exotic pets.
Apex Pros. Never a dispatch fee. Examples of competitive rates may have been slightly exaggerated.
Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Save big money on your next project now at Menards. For softer skin and cleaner clothes, shop our great selection of water softeners. They eliminate hard water stains and scale buildup throughout your home. Plus, Morton's Look Ahead technology learns and predicts your water needs, saving you money. Save big on Morton water softeners, and don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Common Man and Timmy here for Hollywood Casino Columbus. Oh, Common Man, we got lots of exciting things this month.
That's right, like the grand opening of the new hotel so you can stay and play.
Plus, we got lots of great entertainment lined up now through October. We got the Hollywood Tribute Band concert series, from the timeless magic of the Beatles to the fire and swagger of Johnny Cash.
And don't forget about the $250,000 Sweet Spins drawings on Saturdays through June. You can win $250K cash or a 2-night package at the new hotel.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good afternoon, I'm Isaiah Jacob. A historic night in New York as the Knicks captured their first NBA championship in more than 5 decades. Jalen Brunson put an exclamation point on the title run, scoring 45 points in the Game 5 victory over San Antonio and earning Finals MVP honors. Up in Cleveland, the Guardians topped the Tigers 3-1 yesterday, getting a clutch home run from Daniel Schneemann and a strong outing against Detroit ace Tarek Skubal. The concern now for Cleveland is Jose Ramirez, who suffered a fractured left hand and will be sidelined indefinitely. The Guardians wrap up their series with the Tigers this afternoon at 1:40. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, the Reds edged the Diamondbacks 2-1. They're back at it again today as well, with first pitch scheduled for 1:40. Coverage begins right here on the Fan at 1:10. Some offseason news for the Cleveland Cavaliers as guard James Harden was arrested early in Houston yesterday morning and charged with a misdemeanor unlawful carrying of a weapon.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
College football is closer to being here than it is away from last season, if that makes sense. We're getting close, is the point that I'm trying to make, but still got a couple of months left to go. But CBS Sports put out their tier of quarterbacks.
This is a legitimately horrible list, dude. This is like one of the, I'm going through it. This is one of the worst lists of quarterback rankings I have ever seen in my life.
Yes, I have my gripes with this list. So let's get right into it. So the first tier on
this is legitimately
list
horrible.
is obvious Heisman candidates. And I'll tell you right now, there's 8 quarterbacks on there, which I think is way too many for obvious Heisman candidates, but I'll go through them.
I also think they're missing 2 on this obvious, maybe 3 actually.
And there's probably a couple that shouldn't be on there. But
yes.
Number 1, Dante Moore. I'm okay with that one.
Of course.
He arguably could have been the first pick this year. He comes back. He probably doesn't come back in another era of college football. That's not the NIL era, but he's back and he should have a really good season. Number 2, Arch Manning. I'm an Arch Manning guy. I know there's a lot of people that aren't. He finished the season nice. It was his first year as a starter next year. I expect a lot of big things from him and Texas this year. And obviously they are Ohio State's week 1 opponent. Number 3, Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, the way he played in the playoff, I'm about him being
Sands head coach though. Like, I know he did it without Lane Kiffin in the playoff, but a full season.
I mean, it's the same staff that was there during the playoff, and they played well. I understand that Lane Kiffin brought him to the promised land.
Lost a couple receivers.
Yes, but
he is a dog though. I like yes. Yeah, sure. He should be on the list.
Sure. I'm high on Ole Miss this year.
Okay.
I think they could do big things. Number 4, Darian Mensah.
Take him off the list.
Oh, really?
Take him off the list.
Yes.
Take him off the list.
Continue.
I just... What do you want me to say? Like a Miami quarterback? No.
Well, like in this era, this transfer portal era, they just keep reloading at that position. Like,
Carson Beck was their quarterback last year.
They went to the national championship game.
He was horrible. They almost did it despite him. Mensah does have good weapons, though. He put together a pretty solid season at Duke, and I know they paid up to bring him to Miami. I just don't know if I'm a U believer again. They lose a lot on defense. Malachi Toney's obviously back. He's incredible, but I don't know. I feel like Bain and Messidor were so much of that team, and they don't have either of those guys, so I don't know.
Yes, well, he was at Tulane first, correct?
Who's this?
Darian Mensah. Then he went to Duke. I'm almost certain. And now he's at Miami. He did it with Duke talent. He played really well last year. He almost threw for 4,000 yards. And he's going to have Malachi Toney at wide receiver.
Yep.
Like, I'm okay with him being this high on this list. Number 5, our guy, Julian Sayin. Him being at 5, I think, is a disservice to college football fans, to whoever made this list.
It's clickbait. Like, because Julian Sayin being behind Trinidad Chambliss, being behind Darian Mensah, and honestly, even being behind Arch Manning. Like, I think maybe I'm biased here. I've watched a lot of Julian Sayin. I think the guy is primed for a monster season this year.
Here's my beef with Julian Sayin being at 5 on this list. The tier that he's in is obvious Heisman candidates. Okay, Dante Moore, he played quarterback last year.
Yes.
Was he a Heisman finalist?
No.
Arch Manning, was he a Heisman finalist?
No.
Trinidad Chambliss?
No.
Darian Mensah?
No.
Julian Sayin?
Yes.
How is he not the obvious Heisman candidate on the list? He's the only one that was a finalist last year.
Yeah.
I know the Big Ten championship and the game against Miami were
That's
rough.
everybody's perspective changed because of those two games. Yes.
That's what it is. I feel like that's what and I would say I got in trouble with this a couple of weeks ago because I said something about like a very small number of the fan base being like, hey, I don't see it with Julian Sayin. I don't think he's the quarterback to bring us to a national championship. I think there's a similar boat, a loud minority of Buckeye fans that are like, oh yeah, Julian Sayin, those last 2 games, like he stunk. And I don't know if he can be the guy to deliver, because the expectation here is national championship every year. And they just saw how sluggish the offense looked in the last 2 games, and they want to see a change. And the change you always go to when you're talking about offense is the quarterback position, but he's arguably the best quarterback in the country. Like, this is our guy. I would be shocked if he's not in New York again at the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's the situation. He's going to play a hard schedule this year. Like, if Ohio State has a good season, Julian Sayin's going to be there and potentially be the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ohio State has a tough schedule this year. He's got the weapons. He's got another year of experience under his belt. I mean, I just think everything that he showed us last year, another year in the weight room, practice, another year with Ryan Day, I think the guy is primed for a massive, massive season.
Yeah, I think bringing in Arthur Smith at OC is going to be an
NFL offensive coordinator to help. I mean, it's like I said, it's clickbait. He's got to be higher on this list.
And I don't want to make excuses for last year's team, but I think that the Brian Hartline situation affected them more than people are letting on. Like, I just think that Brian Hartline just wasn't able to do 2 jobs at once. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is Ryan Day's offense and Ryan Day's still there. But, like, you went a whole season going about things a certain way. And then as soon as he gets hired at USF, like, all your rhythm just gets, when it comes to preparation for games, is just thrown off in the most important juncture of the year.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%.
So you brought up something about Ohio State's schedule, and I want to pivot to that, but I want to get to the end of the obvious Heisman candidates. Number 6 was C.J. Carr, Notre Dame. I think he's getting a lot of undeserved hype. I think he's good, but I believe when the Heisman odds dropped, he was the favorite to win the Heisman, and now he's like going back and forth with Arch for like the favorite, which I think is way too much praise for him. Jaden Mayava from USC. I said this last year, so this they might disappoint me again. I thought USC was going to make a jump last year, and they didn't. I think they do it this year with Mayava and Lincoln Riley. And then the last person that was on this obvious Heisman candidates quarterback list was Josh Hoover, the new quarterback at Indiana. And I think he's just getting the benefit of the doubt from Fernando Mendoza's last season.
It literally says this in kind of the description here, the reason. Indiana's last transfer quarterback went from good to great once he joined the Hoosiers. Following in Fernando Mendoza's footstep is a tall task, but Hoover is the active passing yards leader in college football. Don't sleep on him. So just because he's going to Indiana, he's going from good to great?
Yeah, and he played a lot of games at TCU. Yeah. Those are mainly the reasons.
Yes.
So I don't think that makes him a quote-unquote obvious Heisman candidate. But I wanted to go to Ohio State's schedule, and I heard Scotty and Dave talk about this. I think it was last week where they were saying, like, this could be a 9-3 team that makes the playoff. And it kind of left a weird taste in my mouth that I was like, this is what we're talking about. This is like Ohio State. Like, despite their tough schedule, when Ohio State puts on the helmets and goes on the field, you expect them to win every game. Mm-hmm. So the fact that it's even a thought in people's minds, like, okay, 9-3 can get them in the playoff, and let's see if they could do some magic. I'd be disappointed with a 9-3 season, even if they did make the playoffs.
So they're over/under set at 9.5, right? I would be disappointed with that as well, to be completely honest with you. Like, the schedule is tough this season. You go to Texas week 2. You go to Iowa at the start of October. You go to Indiana at the middle of October. Your toughest stretch of the season at Indiana, at USC versus Oregon in consecutive weeks with a bye mixed in there. That's tough. And of course, you finish up the season with the Michigan game. But I'm with you. Like, setting the expectations that low does not feel very Buckeye-like to me, right? Like, I feel, they beat Texas last year. It's going to be a tough situation going to Texas this year, but you've got the veteran quarterback now in Julian Sayin that can handle that game. He did it last year, right, in his first start. We don't know how good Indiana is going to be this year with their new quarterback. I would say it's hard to bet against Indiana because they've proven that they can reload and be a factor every year, it feels like now. You like a progression from USC. I'm not a big believer in the Trojans. And then you've got to take on Dante Moore in Oregon. It's tough. It's tough for sure, but I think setting the expectation at 9-3 and maybe they do something special is maybe a little loser talky.
Right. So that break was all about quarterbacks in Ohio State's schedule. We'll talk about the rankings of the head coaches next, coming up on a Fan Sports Sunday.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. So bad.
Welcome to Hollywood Casino.
What can I get you?
How you doing, Columbus?
The same Hollywood you know, with a new hotel to love. Hollywood Casino and Hotel Columbus, coming June 2026. Book now. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry, you're the kind of guy who likes to save money while you do good for the planet, right?
Well, that's why I invented the biodegradable doggy poop bag, Aaron. I'm ecological and economical.
Well, usually the most economical thing you can do when your air conditioner dies is get it repaired. A quick fix can give you years more service.
That sounds economical.
But with older models, those repairs can get pretty expensive, and it'll still use way more energy than a newer model does.
Which is less ecological and less economical.
Get Eco.
ECO. You see where I'm going with this, Jerry?
I sure do. As hard as it is to toss out your old AC and replace the whole thing, it could actually be cheaper in the long run.
Get Eco.
ECO. Are you really a big deal in the poop bag industry, Jerry?
The doggos love me, Aaron.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman, and for the longest time, I figured the less I did, the less I'd hurt. Well, I figured wrong. Something always happens, and when it does, I've always gone to Orthopedic One, Central Ohio's most trusted orthopedic practice. They rank #1 in Ohio and top 5 in the nation for orthopedics. So whether you're struggling with ongoing pain or facing a sudden orthopedic injury, you can always schedule an appointment directly with their physicians. No referral required. Start with the specialists. Start at orthopedic1.com.
Make it a Reds, white, and blue holiday. Join the Reds on Saturday, the 4th of July, as we celebrate America 250 and enjoy America's pastime when the Reds take on the Orioles. Fans in attendance will receive a USA Cowboy hat thanks to Network for Hope while supplies last. Be sure to stick around after the game for the biggest fireworks show in town. Great American Ballpark is the ultimate destination this 4th of July. Get your tickets now at reds.com/tickets.
Wildlife around the globe needs help. And when you help protect them, you become a friend of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.
Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down the road and back again.
Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Thank you for helping protect wildlife around the globe. Without you, there's no them. Learn more at sdzwa.org/friend.
I'm Tracy Townsend, anchor at 10 TV News This Morning. This community is my home, and it means everything to me. I care deeply about the stories we bring you each day, especially the ones that truly impact your life, from women's health and advocacy to the decisions happening at the State House. My goal is simple: help you feel informed and connected, because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Common Man here for my friends at Care Heating and Cooling. Summertime napping season is upon us. What's that mean? Well, that means for me, a little nap on the leather couch. I got the ceiling fan on, but if that AC's not working properly, that nap turns into crap. Am I right? You got to make sure that AC's in tip-top shape, and the only people to call are my friends at Care Heating and Cooling. The message on their homepage says, we care about your comfort, because they do. If you're not comfortable in your own home, they start to get itchy and scratchy. Here's what you need to know about my friends at Care. They've won the Lennox Centurion Award for 17 years in a row. Now, if you're not in the biz, you don't know what that is, but I'm going to tell you, it's given to the top 5% of Lennox dealers in the country each year. Their service techs are the best in the business, and there's not a problem they can't solve, except maybe the meaning of life. They had no answer when I asked them. But think about living without central AC. Mess you up. My friends at Care also have easy online scheduling. CareHeatingandCooling.com. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING when you need a company you can trust.
A message from Tia Mori, actress and Fair Celebrity Ambassador.
Game day isn't staged. It's lived. It's the shopping, the cooking, the laughter. For families managing food allergy, preparation means everything. It's knowing the signs, having a plan, and carrying epinephrine everywhere life takes you. Because readiness doesn't take away the risk. It brings back the joy. When you're ready to act, you're ready to live.
Visit foodallergy.org/ready to act to learn more.
If only there was a radio show that constantly talked about Ohio State athletics. Well, good news. It's real, baby. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're going to see some scattered showers a little earlier and then a better chance for stronger storms later this afternoon. You're going to see lots of heavy rain and some gusty winds, though. The good news is humidity drops tonight, setting up for a nice cooler couple days on your Monday and Tuesday with highs in the 70s and low dew points. I'm your 10 Weather Impact meteorologist, Lily Aldrich, with 97.1 The Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
All right, so last break we went through CBS's sports rankings of the best quarterbacks in the nation. We're going to do coaches next. Let's get started right with the top 10. And I really want to dissect the top 5, but here's the number 10, Kyle Whittingham.
Kyle Whittingham, who's ranked number 10 just because he's at Michigan.
You think so?
I think so. If he's at Utah, he's probably between 15 and 20 on this list, I would think.
Yeah, I think people have high regard for him, but I can get behind that a little bit. Number 9, another coach in a new destination, Lane Kiffin at LSU.
I think Lane Kiffin's got to be higher on this list. He's a proven winner. He's in a great situation now at LSU. Kind of surprised to see him behind the next guy on this list.
Which is number 8, Kalen DeBoer from Alabama.
Yeah. Somehow still in the top 10.
See, I think Kalen DeBoer gets a bad rap. I mean, if you remember,
Do you?
Yes, I do. I do. I think Washington, he went to that national championship game, which essentially got him the Bama job. I think when you're taking over for a guy like Nick Saban, you're never going to meet expectations.
That is true.
I mean, they finished first in the SEC last year and then lost the SEC championship to Georgia. It's not like they've really fallen off. Like, they were right there this year, and they made the playoff. They got that first round win over Oklahoma. Like, I'm fine with him being number 8 on this list. Number 7, Mario Cristobal. All right, with him, I feel like people would just talk crap about him. And then after last season, like, everyone just forgot everything they thought about Mario Cristobal before, like the bad game management. I know a lot of fans here remember him from when he was in Oregon. He came into the shoe and won a game, but I'm not a big fan of Mario Cristobal.
I don't think he alone is a fantastic coach. I think he's a strong coach. You know, he's made good programs where he's gone. But I think the key, and you talked about some of the game management issues he had is, you know, bringing in strong support staff. And, you know, that's what good leaders do, right? Is they bring in strong people around them. But does that make you the 7th best coach in college football? You know, we're splitting hairs at this point, but I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm not the biggest Mario Cristobal fan. Would not be surprised to see them fall off.
Moving on to number 6, Steve Sarkisian at Texas.
That's another one where I'm kind of surprised to see him this high. I guess, you know, you look at some of the names behind maybe the top 10, and there are not a lot of guys that are, you know, I guess pushing to get into this top 10. But, like, what has Sarkisian really done, though? You know what I mean? Like, last year was a disappointing season for Texas. He falls. Last season, he was ranked as the 4th best coach in college football. You know, for that's the thing for me. What has Sarkisian really done?
Well, they had the run 2 years ago, right, when they lost to Ohio State in the semifinal last year. Disappointing. He says if they don't play Ohio State, they would make the playoff. Most people say if you just don't lose to Florida, you make the playoff.
Yes.
This is kind of like make or break for him. I think you got season number 2 as Arch as your quarterback. You brought in Coleman, the wide receiver, who was like, I think in some rankings, he was like the number 1 transfer portal player.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player.
So I think this might be make or break for Sarkisian. I'm not saying he's going to get fired if they have like I mean, they're going to be a top 3 preseason team this year. So
I mean, they've got to make the playoff, and they've got to win a couple games,
yes.
You know.
Number 5, I think, is a controversial subject when it comes to these types of rankings, and I definitely want to get your thoughts on this person. Dan Lanning out of Oregon.
I like Dan Lanning. I think he's a good motivator, obviously a quality recruiter, a good resume. I like Dan Lanning. Like, I know he's kind of one of those guys that, you know, some people love him, some people hate him. He's intense. I think that drives people kind of the wrong way. But I like Dan Lanning. I'm a fan of his.
See, so I'm a big fan of Dan Lanning as well, and I feel like there's people out there screaming at their radios, what has Dan Lanning done, though? And the thing for me is that, okay, there's 3 head coaches, I should say, in the whole country that have national championship rings. Mm-hmm. That's Kurt Cignetti, that's Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, and I guess there's 4 because you have Dabo as well. But I think we're all in agreement that Dabo doesn't belong anywhere near this top 5. He's actually 11th on this list, and I think the only reason why he's on there is because he has won rings in the past. Mm-hmm. I don't see Clemson being a real player in this era of college football, and I think his days are numbered there. But when it comes to regular season success, who really has been better than Oregon the past couple of years? Well, I don't think anybody.
And the thing for me is, you know, Oregon obviously, when Chip Kelly was there, they were terrific. And then they had some down seasons, right? And they brought in Mario Cristobal, and I think Cristobal helped to re-legitimize the program.
For sure.
But Lanning from there, I think, has taken them even to another level. Like, Oregon fell out of being that perennial top 3, top 5 team for a bit there, a team that you could realistically see winning the national championship. And what have they become since Dan Lanning has taken over? A team, I think, year in and year out that people look at and say, realistically, they could compete for a national championship this season.
Yeah,
That's what he's done.
Yep. So he's been there for 4 seasons. He's gone 48-8 and 32-4 in conference, and that's of course Pac-12 and Big Ten. But this reminds me of Ryan Day. This reminds me of Kirby Smart, where people were like, "Oh man, they don't win the big game." And by big game, that just means national championship.
Yeah.
That's what people are saying when they say so-and-so doesn't win the big game. And so Kirby Smart kept knocking on the door, and eventually it opened up and he won a national championship. Same thing with Ryan Day. If you just keep putting yourself in position to win a national championship, if you have a bite at the apple literally every year, which is what Dan Lanning does for Oregon, like, you're eventually gonna break through. And I wouldn't be surprised if this year is the year they do it. I know they have Ohio State on the schedule, but like we talked about it last break. They got Dante Moore coming back. He's arguably the best quarterback in the country. Might be the number 1 overall pick next year. Like, this might be the year for Oregon. And if not, we know that they're going to be there at the end.
I know that for Oregon fans, their biggest gripe as of late is the way that they've lost the 2 playoff games, to Ohio State in a blowout and then Indiana in a blowout, just leaving a stain in your mouth at the end of the season, because both of these past 2 seasons, they felt like they could win a national championship, and then to go out the way they did, I think that is the thing that's holding them up the most with Lanning right now. But I'm in total agreement with you guys. I think he's a fantastic coach, and the program is going in the right direction, but when you get crushed both times in the past 2 playoffs, when you one time were a 1 seed, and then last year we're hoping to be able to make your way to the national championship again, that's their biggest gripe.
Yeah, I can see how being boat raced by the national champion the past 2 years makes their fan base feel like maybe they're not as close as some people think. Number 4, Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. I'm fine with this. I'm all about, it is harder to recruit at Notre Dame.
I like Marcus Freeman a lot, and I think if you put him in a different situation,
Yes.
He might even be higher on this list, to be honest with you.
Number 3 is our guy, Ryan Day. I'm fine with him there. Number 2, Kirby Smart. Number 1, Kurt Cignetti. I feel like all those guys are interchangeable.
Yeah, and specifically Kirby Smart and Ryan Day. I think if you're arguing between those 2 guys, it comes down to semantics. Kirby Smart has won 2 national championships to Ryan Day's 1 national championship, right? I think that's probably what it comes down to. I think Ohio State has been the better team compared to Georgia for the last couple of seasons here, but again, no problem. Kirby Smart has tenure. He's done it for longer, so respect.
Right. And then I think some people have that taste in their mouth still of the last time they went head-to-head. Of course, Georgia won that playoff game. Kurt Cignetti at 1. Look, I'm fine with it, but I think people need to pump the brakes on Kurt Cignetti.
You want to see a body of work?
I do. Joshua Perry, who's been filling in for Tyvis Powell while he's on paternity leave on T-Bone and Tyvis, 6 to 9 Monday through Friday on this great station. He has said that Kurt Cignetti is the greatest coach of all time based off the job he did last year at Indiana, taking
Nick
Indiana.
Saban, come on.
Right, but Saban, done it time
Nick
and time
Saban
again.
Saban did this thing, man.
Yes. Well,
Not to mention countless other great college football coaches before Nick Saban, but...
And I fully understand that Alabama's Alabama, and they have the prestige and the history with Bear Bryant and whatnot, and I think that they won one in between the Bear and Nick Saban. But Alabama was down bad when Nick Saban got there.
Yeah.
They were not competing for even conference championships, and he went in there and he wins all those natties. I can say I think I can get behind that last year's Indiana season was arguably the greatest singular season in college football, and maybe that Kurt Cignetti did the greatest job with the 2025 Indiana Hoosiers. But I do want to see him do it for multiple seasons before I anoint him on the Mount Rushmore of college football coaches.
Yeah, what he has done is absolutely incredible, right? It's literally never really been seen before, the way that he has come into a program that was a perennial loser. It's not even like he has come in and rebuilt a program. It's kind of what we were talking about with Oregon, right? How Oregon had a few down years. Mario Cristobal comes in, re-legitimizes things. Indiana was not that. Indiana's just been bad. And they hired Kurt Cignetti, and he's made them good. Indiana's a basketball school.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Nope.
Now they're a football school. Kurt Cignetti has done that. And it's crazy the way he's done it through the transfer portal. But now we'll see, Kurt Cignetti is getting there. You know, he'll be there for, 3 years now?
Yep.
And we'll start to see more of Kurt Cignetti's recruiting classes and how they actually recruit outside of the transfer portal. We'll see if they continue to be successful in the transfer portal, specifically at the quarterback position. So still lots of questions, even though they're the returning national champions. I think he's a great coach, but I'm with you. Maybe he's the number one college football coach right now, but you would like to see certainly a body of work over more time.
So the biggest story in college football has been out of Lubbock, Texas. We'll recap and update the Brandon Sorsby saga next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
Oh, my, do I have World Cup fever. Scotty Vegas here, and the next Team USA game is Friday at 3 o'clock. So let's play some hooky from work and meet up at the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. We have contests, games, and huge prizes to give away. Wear your red, white, and blue. Watch the game on the best screen in Columbus. Pro tip, order the soft pretzel. It's the size of a soccer ball and delicious. See you Friday at 3 at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
I'm Yolanda Harris. I'm a journalist at 10 TV News. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to verify, to volunteer. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together, all of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Just when you thought afternoons couldn't get any dumber.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you?
Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Your home for dumb. The Fan. Your go-to destination for Buckeye football talk all year round. This is Fan Sports Sunday.
So, Dylan Tyre, I'm Dylan Gonzalez, Isaiah Jacob here as well, was telling me that someone in the NBA has an impressive Chipotle streak.
Yeah, I just saw on Instagram that Michael Bridges has eaten Chipotle every single day for 10 years.
Yes.
He spent over $60,000 at Chipotle.
It's funny because someone asked me to do like my starting, like if I could have any starting five in the NBA, who would it be? And I included Mikal Bridges because he's a big Chipotle fan. I was like, okay, put him at my 3. There's something about him since he eats so much Chipotle. But I don't know about you guys. Are you guys big Chipotle eaters?
I like Chipotle a lot, but I almost never have it.
How about you, Isaiah?
Exact same as Dylan. I like it every time I go there, but I don't go there very often.
You see, I was not Mikal Bridges level Chipotle fan, but I ate a lot of Chipotle at one time, probably like 3 to 4 times a week. There was a time.
Wow.
And I think between the price of Chipotle going up and the quality of their food going down, I almost never eat it now. It's been so disappointing, the downfall of Chipotle. I don't know if everyone out there believes what I do, but I'm down on Chipotle. I'm actually like looking for like a new burrito spot because it's like a void in my heart that I don't eat Chipotle anymore when I used to be obsessed with it. And like, I don't even want to eat that kind of food anymore because I'm like, normally I would go to Chipotle and I know I'm going to be disappointed. Like every time I go there, the rice is like undercooked. It's still like hard. Or like I was running into it for a long time. They would like be out of something simple like lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how are you out of lettuce? You're Chipotle.
You got to get put onto a spot. Somebody's got to put you onto a good spot.
Yes.
You and I will talk off the air.
Okay.
I might have some options for you.
We'll get some recommendations for a place to get a good burrito. But the number one story in sports for, I would say, the past week or two has been the the Brendan Sorsby saga in Texas Tech. And I know a lot of people are tired of hearing about this, but I feel like it's such a big thing that we have to talk about it. So to give you a little bit of a timeline and a recap, he signs with Texas Tech on January 4th out of the transfer portal. And then on April 27th, he enters rehab. And this is on the same day that the NCAA essentially says that they did an investigation and there's allegations of him betting on games. And then May 18th, he files an injunction for his college eligibility. And then some time goes by. June 8th, there's a ruling out of Lubbock. He wins the injunction. He's eligible to play college football. And news that I think was a shock to anyone that was paying the slightest bit of attention to the story.
It certainly is. And I think there are a couple of issues with it, right? And these aren't new things. I'm just kind of rehashing what everybody has already talked about. Number one, he bet on his own teams, which is an absolute no-no in any sport.
Yes.
We've seen it in the NBA. We've seen it in Major League Baseball. And what happened to those people? Banned for life, right? They're essentially just, the crackdown is insane. Sorsby does it. Not only does he do it, but he does it underage. It's illegal. What he did is illegal. So that's the second thing for me. It's like, okay, one, he bet on his own team. In college football is essentially allowing it, right? The second thing is he did it underage. That is against the law, but he's not feeling any consequences for doing that. I don't understand how this is possible. I would think we're still going to, the story's not over, right? I think there's still more that's going to come of this, but say it is over. Say that he does play this college football season, and say that Texas Tech is one of the best teams in the country. Say that this team is going to go to the college football playoff. The committee does not have to rank them. Like, could you imagine that? The college football committee, they're so anti whatever happened, they're going to say, okay, we're going to lay down the law. Texas Tech can't make the college football playoff. They could do that.
They could go that route. Another route I think that this story can go is that I think, so Brendan Sorsby's people essentially said, hey, like, we know he did something wrong, but we don't think he should be ineligible. How about a 2-game suspension?
Right.
And the court said, okay, that's fine. I think what the Big 12 should do is wait that third week of the season. They have a conference game, or it might be the fourth week. Just suspend him. Suspend him the Friday before the first Big 12 game. Actually, it might be against Oklahoma State. But he'll already be suspended for that one. Then they play like a non-conference game, and then they'll get into the full Big 12 slate. Once that Big 12 slate starts to say, we've been doing an investigation and just concluded, suspend him. He'll at least get suspended for that third game, and then he'll have to take the Big 12 to court to get eligible again. And then so later on June 8th, if we're following the timeline, basically the other schools in the Big 12 and then other schools were like, oh, we just won't schedule Texas Tech. We're not going to play Texas Tech. I don't think the Big 12 is going to follow through with this like the other Big 12 schools and be like, okay, we're not going to play. What are you going to do, forfeit games against Texas Tech?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to go that far. But I find it odd that, and I think it's the right thing to do. I guess I didn't expect it for so many teams to band together and be like, you know what? This isn't right. We know it's not right, and we're going to do something about it.
Well, you need integrity in sport. That's the only, you need integrity in sport. That's why people watch it, right? If it's just a big sham, nobody's going to watch it. And this is one thing in a 100-team, college football landscape. So, one fiber isn't going to ruin it, but if you set precedent, then college football could certainly be in serious danger because, I know under the table for years things were going on, but there was at least that air of integrity, right?
Right.
Now you're showing us blatantly to our face that there's no law. So what do college football fans have to believe in?
That's the portion for me, Dylan Tyre, that's a little bit more worrisome is it's not about him betting and being able to play. It's the opportunity that almost any star player can now supersede any ruling, any suspension, and just go to a judge that's going to allow them to play. I'm not worried about Sorsby and his allegations or him being able to play or not. It's that he was able to go to a judge and just completely bypass any ruling by the NCAA, by college football. That's the portion that scares me, because then there are no rules. And any suspension, why would any Ohio State player this season, if they got suspended for a game for any reason, why would they not play? Why would they not go to a judge that would say, hey, we actually decide you can play? Like, there's no rules in that portion, and that's the part, for me, that's setting a horrible precedent for any star quarterback.
Well, to take this even a step further, what's stopping from any coach, any AD, any player in college football, the coach to say, all right, guys, this week, if Ryan Day is playing USC, they're playing at USC, they're like, all right, guys, we're 4.5-point favorites on the road at USC this week. We know we can whoop these guys. Everybody put $20K that we're going to cover against USC this week, and we're gonna whoop them, and we're gonna cover, and everybody's gonna make money. And all of our NIL, we're gonna get NIL money to be able to pay players because we're betting on these games. Even what's stopping that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very far-fetched, and it feels disgusting to say. Yeah. Like, I hate saying that, but what is stopping that from happening?
It seems like nothing, and I'm sure there's people out there opposing what you're saying like, well, the NCAA would get involved. And then what?
And then you go to a favorable judge that says, no, it's
exactly. Go to a favorable judge here in Columbus, and they say it's okay. And I think this is the nail in the coffin for the NCAA. Now we just got to throw some dirt on them and put them in the ground, because we've seen it before where people sue the NCAA to get their way, but not in a case like this where everyone is unified that this is wrong. Like all the other ones, like should a player be able to, make money NIL or transfer portal? Like we've seen that kind of stuff go to court and the NCAA lose. And I feel like those are very gray areas. Mm-hmm. This isn't a gray area.
Yeah, it's very black and white when you have all these college football coaches, all these programs coming out and saying, how did this possibly get allowed? Because I think they believe in that integrity bit that I talked about. They're worried for the state of the sport.
Yeah. So if the NCAA can't enforce punishments for a player gambling on sports, what can they enforce?
Yeah, nothing.
It seems like nothing. So what is their purpose when it comes to college football? They don't have one. Mm-hmm. So I think they're done. I'm one of those people that have believed in the Super League rumors for like decades, and I feel like this is pushing towards that, because I think entities like the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be like, why are we dealing with these people? What do they do for us? The answer is nothing.
Well, if Texas Tech makes the college football playoff and you lose to Texas Tech in the college football playoff and this quarterback that shouldn't be allowed to play, how is that fan base going to feel? That losing fan base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is BS.
And I would want to push back on that a little bit, because in the end, none of this has to do with what's on the field.
No, but I'm just saying,
Yeah. Like he should be an eligible player. So I get that point. The New York Knicks are your 2026 NBA champion. We'll talk about them coming up next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan. Common Man and Timmy. Voted America's dumbest show by Marconi voters. Common Man is a Columbus radio legend. And by legend, I mean it's a miracle he hasn't been fired yet. And Timmy is, well, Timmy will complain about anything and everything. And he kind of looks like a woman. Giggity, giggity, giggity. So there's that. Common Man and Timmy.
Sponsored by Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Well, Lorenzo, the pitch looked good.
Yeah, so green.
USA keeper was decent enough.
Didn't have much to do.
99 minutes.
Not a single goal. Well, Bet365 sure came through, though. I bet $10 and get $365 in bonus bets just for signing up.
At least someone scored.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
Delaware County Veterans Services. Here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of Veteran County Veterans Service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation and and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment? Facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veterans Services a call. 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veterans Services.
Scotty Vegas here, and my wife caught me in the garage just staring at my beautiful new Bronco from Krieger Ford. I mean, I'm in love. The buying process at Krieger Ford was amazing. Quick, no pressure, fun, in and out so fast I couldn't believe it. I was prepared to spend all day looking at cars. Instead, I got my shiny new red Bronco out of the showroom in no time. If you're looking for a new car for the summer, visit Krieger Ford on Morse Road. Krieger Ford is my winning bet. Visit KriegerFord.com today.
Everybody thinks they're a great driver. Outlaw Motor Speedway gives you the chance to prove it. Experience professional racing simulators, full motion rigs, and some of the world's iconic tracks right here in Grandview. Race your friends, join a league, or bring the office out for an unforgettable corporate event. And when the checkered flag drops, keep the night going with great food and drinks here or next door at Agave and Rye. Then climb back in the driver's seat and see who's got what it takes. Book your race today at outlawsimracing.com.
Hi, I'm Kathy McPhee. Animals have always had my heart, and that is why I'm a proud supporter of American Humane Society. Over the years, I have filled my home with rescue pets. I adopted my sweet Wilma as a senior dog. Some of my most cherished memories are with her. American Humane Society has been protecting animals for 150 years. Your support can save lives. Join us in helping animals in need at AmericanHumane.org.
Whoa, what's all this? These screens, the food?
All for the game, bro.
Dude, let us pitch in.
No need. I've got it all covered. With T-Mobile, I'm saving $1,000 bundling my wireless and internet.
No way. Really?
Yep, and the price of my plan won't change for 5 years.
Wow, I'm definitely switching to T-Mobile.
Goal!
Here to score big with T-Mobile. Families save up to $1,000 a year when they bundle fast, easy to set up, all-in 5G home internet with 4 phone lines on Experience Beyond. And your plan price? Guaranteed for 5 years. Stay connected con tu gente and catch every match with T-Mobile. Join now at T-Mobile.com. Price guarantee on talk, tax, and data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Savings based on third line free via monthly bill credits. Internet discount with $15 in monthly bill credits and auto-pay discount. Qualifying credit required. Credits may take up to 2 bill cycles and will stop if you cancel any lines or change plans.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Rothman and Ice.
If you hit a fadeaway on Tree Rollins, you'd remember his name.
But I think in time, Tree Hollins, that name would fade a little bit.
Tree Rollins?
Faded in 2 seconds.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan. The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by KDHVAC, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan. It's sports conversation, but with a drink and umbrella as a garnish. This is Fan Sports Sunday.
So last night, the New York Knicks beat the San Antonio Spurs to be the NBA champions. They win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Jalen Brunson is your finals MVP after he had a 45-point game in Game 5. And what I want to get into this break is if this is quote unquote bad for the NBA, like a team like the Knicks winning a championship, like Jalen Brunson, is he a star? I don't know if he's a star. Were they considered one of the top contenders for a championship when this season started? No. Do people like that? I think some people do. People like me, I think this is kind of a weak champion, in my opinion.
Really?
Yes.
I think this is good for the NBA. You got to see Victor Wembanyama in the NBA Finals. There's anticipation for next year. It sets up lots of anticipation for the battle in the West next year between OKC and the Spurs. You get a great market in New York making history, their first title since the early 70s. And, I think people that maybe disrespect the NBA or don't like the NBA, they talk about maybe a lack of parity, but there's good parity if you look at the NBA champions by year here. The last 8 years, a different NBA champion. You had Golden State going back-to-back, obviously, 16, 17, 17, 18. Since then, the Raptors, the Lakers, the Bucks, the Warriors, the Nuggets, the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Knicks have won the NBA title. I would argue that puts the NBA in a pretty good spot, that you've got lots of parity and you've got lots of good competition. A team that wasn't expected to win the NBA Finals, even when the playoffs started, has now won the NBA Finals. It's an unbelievable run. I think maybe you would have liked to have seen a little bit longer of a series between these teams. That would have been fun, but it was still a good series because there were so many comebacks. So, while the Knicks might feel like an odd champion because they're not that team that has maybe a true superstar, I'm fine with them winning. I think it's great for the NBA to showcase the parity. Again, a tremendous market in New York City finally gets a championship in the sport of basketball, and it's just the stepping stone for Victor Wembanyama. This series will be on lots of documentary-style pieces for years to come if Wembanyama turns out to be the player people think he is.
See, I wasn't someone who ever complained about the lack of parity. I was a big fan of the NBA when we had LeBron winning the East every year, whether he was on Miami or Cleveland, and I was fine. I didn't like the Warriors dynasty, but I'm like, man, they're damn good. They deserve to win it every single year. Then you go back to like Shaq and Kobe three-peating, and before that, Michael Jordan and the Bulls, and even in between that, you had a back-to-back champion in the Rockets, and then prior to that, you had Magic and Larry Bird going at it every year. Like, I feel like people say they want parity in the NBA, but we see over the course of the NBA's history, the time that it's the most popular is when you have familiar superstars in the finals every year facing each other. Like I said, with Magic, Larry, Michael, LeBron, Steph. Like, those are the people that I want to see in the finals, and I think people say that they want parity, but I really think that they don't.
I think it's fascinating just because now you have this renegade team in the New York Knicks that maybe they do have a little bit of staying power, right? Like, you have these superstars, and you have these teams made up of superstars, and maybe the Knicks can kind of do it in a little bit different of a way, right? Like, Brunson to me is a superstar. He showed that he can be that in the NBA Finals and throughout the playoffs. But the Knicks are built just a little bit differently than some of these other squads, and it would be fascinating to see if they have a little bit of staying power, right? Like, maybe this Magic isn't a one-time deal. Maybe they've got this thing where they just battle and they're able to come back and they have a never-say-die attitude. Just fascinated to see what next year looks like.
You see, I want to take this in a conversation in a different direction now, because we talk about like the race to the bottom for teams that like aren't championship contenders, right? It's like either be a championship contender or just stink.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there were times during this build for the Knicks that they're like, oh man, they need to just blow it up and bring in.
I mean, after last year,
yeah,
like they could have completely changed everything.
This is why I think when people are like, oh, I just don't want a team that's like just good enough to make the playoffs, I think the Knicks are a perfect example of why you try to stay on top of the game as long as you can and not just give up and start tanking, is because of situations like this where it's like, if the Celtics aren't, well, Jason Tatum came back, but I really feel like if Jason Tatum was like there for like the whole season, that the Celtics are the better team. I feel like if we talked about it earlier in the show, if the Thunder are healthy, they probably win the Eastern Conference Finals, and they probably win the finals. You never know what's going to happen. Last year, we had the Pacers make the finals because of injuries. Well, like, you never know what's going to happen. If you just stay there near the top, you never know, like, an injury can happen, and then boom, and you're that team.
The same thing is happening in the NHL right now. Like, Carolina is almost a New York Knicks style team, and that they've been good for a long time and haven't been able to get over that hump, but they keep trying and they keep trying, and now they're on the cusp of finally getting it done and winning the Stanley Cup final. And on the other side, You have the Vegas Golden Knights, who have only existed for 9 years, but they're arguably the most cutthroat organization in hockey. They made the Stanley Cup final in their first year of existence, and they've essentially been a Stanley Cup, or at least a very good playoff caliber team, every season since then. This year, they squeaked into the playoffs, and now they're in the Stanley Cup final because they knew what was in that room. They believed in the roster they had, and they've obviously tweaked some things, bringing in a new head coach with just a couple of weeks left in the season. I go back to the cutthroat thing, but it's the same thing you're talking about. You just never really know. You have to get in, and when that tournament starts, everything can change.
Yeah, like I feel like if like in the NFL, the examples of this are teams like the Bills and the Ravens, where like they just like got impatient and fired their coach.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, like you're right there knocking on the door every year. I know the Ravens, they missed the playoffs last year, but they were one game away from making the playoffs. You had that de facto AFC North Championship game the last week of the season against the Steelers.
And that happens, right? Like Lamar was hurt last year.
Yeah,
like these factors are going to come in and they're going to you're going to miss the playoffs this one year. Are the Ravens bad though? No, they're not a bad team.
Yeah, that's why, like, when we were talking about Dan Lanning a couple of breaks ago and people were like, oh, what has he done? I feel like, what are you going to do? You're going to fire Dan Lanning and bring in who?
Right.
And then what? You're there every year. If you just stay there and you could eventually catch a break, like, this is the most status quo thing to say, but fan is short for fanatics. But I feel like people just get absolutely crazy when their team has high expectations and then they don't win the championship. It's like, oh, we need to make all these changes. It's like, stay pat and see what happens.
Yep. I'm a big believer in you try and make yourself as good as possible and you hang around for as long as possible and you analyze and figure out if you have to make a few tweaks here and there. You build your roster to what you think will win a championship. You just want as many swings as you can, right? You want as many kicks at the can as possible. So that's my belief too. You got to get, instead of course, everybody wants to build a super team, right? Like you want to be the Dodgers where you feel like you have a chance every single year. But in some markets, you can't necessarily do that, right? So I'm a big believer, and you just try and build over time as best as you can, and try and get as many kicks at the can as possible.
And I mean, the Knicks did technically make a big change in last offseason because they fired their head coach,
sure,
and they brought in Mike Brown. But they kept this core in that a lot of people didn't think was good enough to win a championship.
Yeah, they didn't make critical changes to their group, to their roster.
Yep, to their actual roster. So something that I never thought we would be talking about on these airwaves, fighting at the White House. We'll get into that next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
T-Bone and Tyvis are everything you want in a delicious breakfast. Lots of empty calories, no nutritional value.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
There's this thing repair people do nowadays.
Mappo's Plumbing. Sure, we do have a dispatch fee. It's $1 zillion.
A dispatch fee, a trip charge, going out to your house bill.
Bippity Bing Bong Electrical. Our trip charge is a nice new car.
But not Apex Pros, the pros who knows. When you call Apex for repairs on your AC, plumbing, or electric, there's no dispatch fee.
Thank you for calling Apex Pros. Why would we? Kinda silly to ask for money before we do anything, isn't it?
We give you an upfront price only after we know what's really going on. We think it's the right thing to do, instead of
Slappy's AC, electric, plumbing, dry cleaning, haberdashery, and chiropractic. Of course we charge to come out. $1 kajillion, 3 diamond rings, and 2 exotic pets.
Apex Pros. Never a dispatch fee. Examples of competitive rates may have been slightly exaggerated.
Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Oh my, do I have World Cup fever. Scotty Vegas here, and the next Team USA game is Friday at 3 o'clock. So let's play some hooky from work and meet up at the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. We have contests, games, and huge prizes to give away. Wear your red, white, and blue. Watch the game on the best screen in Columbus. Pro tip, order the soft pretzel. It's the size of a soccer ball and delicious. See you Friday at 3 at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Performance matters in intimate moments. Don't let ED ruin them. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and I want to assure you that if you're like the vast majority of guys, you don't have to suffer with ED anymore. In fact, you might be pleasantly surprised at how the right treatments could positively impact your love life. At Tri-State Men's Health, our advanced medical therapies go far beyond pills. We have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, and we offer specific and combinative treatments that can dramatically enhance both your performance and your stamina. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a far greater level of intimacy to both you and the one you love, perhaps performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and find out why our advanced treatment strategies offer so much more. Your first visit is just $99 and gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, advanced medical science to improve men's lives.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans. But many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good afternoon, I'm Isaiah Jacob. A historic night in New York as the Knicks captured their first NBA championship in more than 5 decades. Jalen Brunson put an exclamation point on the title run, scoring 45 points in the Game 5 victory over San Antonio and earning Finals MVP honors. Up in Cleveland, the Guardians topped the Tigers 3-1 yesterday, getting a clutch home run from Daniel Schneemann and a strong outing against Detroit ace Tarek Skubal. The concern now for Cleveland is Jose Ramirez, who suffered a fractured left hand and will be sidelined indefinitely. The Guardians wrap up their series with the Tigers this afternoon at 1:40. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, the Reds edged the Diamondbacks 2-1. They're back at it again today as well, with first pitch scheduled for 1:40. Coverage begins right here on the Fan at 1:10. Some offseason news for the Cleveland Cavaliers as guard James Harden was arrested early in Houston yesterday morning and charged with a misdemeanor unlawful carrying of a weapon.
Are you still in your pajamas? We are. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
Last break on a Fan Sports Sunday. I'm Dylan Gonzalez. That's Dylan Tyre. We got Isaiah Jacob here as well. And I teased before the break, fighting at the White House. And if you're living under a rock, it is a UFC at the White House. Not quite just people going fisticuffs.
I think fighting at the White House happens all the time.
Yes.
But UFC at the White House, that's a rarity.
Yeah, so you got UFC Freedom 250. That is tonight at 8 o'clock. You can watch that on Paramount. If you're a big UFC fan, I know there's some of them out there. I guess this card is okay. I think Dana White and Donald Trump were building this up to be bigger. I don't think it met their expectations. We're not seeing John Jones or Conor McGregor fight on this, but you got Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje for the unification of the undisputed light heavyweight championship. Alex Pereira and Cyril Gane, and then you got a bunch of other big names on this card like Sean O'Malley, Derek Lewis, Michael Chandler. A lot of people like Bo Nickel. He's a young fighter that's up and coming. I think
wrestled at Penn State. People in Columbus might remember him from that.
So I think when it comes to a card, this card is okay.
I think it's fun.
Yeah. But this UFC event at the White House, and you sent me a tweet from the Weather Channel about the weather for this. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. You got let's see, you got high winds, 30-mile-per-hour winds, rain, thunderstorms in the area. And I heard earlier that also swarms of mosquitoes, apparently. That's a concern. Could you imagine? You're literally fighting another professional fighter. You're fighting one of the best fighters in the world. You got to worry about a mosquito biting you on your face while this is happening.
Well, that was the number one thing for me when this all came up. It's a cool idea in theory, and what they've built looks pretty cool on the lawn of the White House. But I mean, middle of June in Washington, D.C., hot, humid, trying to fight outdoors, so many distractions outside of the fight itself. And, you think about everything these guys go through to make weight, before the fights and then to immediately put yourself into the heat and the humidity, it's going to be extremely difficult. And I know things get obviously very sweaty and slick when you're fighting indoors, but you add the factor of humidity to all this. I'm curious to see. Well, first of all, it sounds like this is going to be difficult to even make happen. You know, there's lightning threats, and you have to take a 30-minute break every time lightning strikes within 8 miles of you or whatever the case may be. So that could be an issue. This could be delayed. I mean, at this point, it may not even happen with what this weather in D.C. looks like, but all these different factors make it seem really, really difficult, and they remind you, oh, yeah, this is why we fight indoors in the first place.
Yes, so I heard Dana White earlier this week saying that they were going to fight regardless, and it's like, well, if it's lightning, you can't, but I wonder, there's a lot of government officials there. I wonder if they could just veto that and be like, we're going to go ahead and just fight in the lightning. There is a 92-foot overhang over the octagon, but when you have 34-mile-per-hour winds and storms, like, it's going to be raining sideways.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to get wet.
It's a weird thing, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could possibly weigh the safety, because like you said, I mean, the president of the United States is going to be there. He could just say, no, we're fighting no matter what. But at some point, Dana White's got to worry about the safety of the fighters too, right? You have to watch out for them. I don't know. We'll see if it happens. Hopefully the weather is good and everything goes off according to plan, but it doesn't sound like it.
I kind of want it to rain. I think it'd be more fun. No thunder, no lightning,
right?
Just rain, and see if they would be willing to still go. Obviously, they could be dangerous for the fighters, which nobody wants, but also it would be very entertaining to see them fighting literally in the rain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in for the spectacle of this.
Yeah.
Fighters, probably more so than football players. I mean, I'm stereotyping here, but have like that caveman mentality. I'm sure they're going to want to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's not, and none of these fighters are going to be like, you know what? It's a little too wet, a little too slippery out there.
No, I think it goes to, you've trained so much to do it, right? You're
Right,
like,
that
let's
too.
just get this out of the way. But at some point, if it's not safe, somebody's got to step in and be like, whoa. Because these guys are under contract with the UFC. You've got to look out for them that way.
Yeah, like I consider myself in the past a UFC fan. I haven't been really that locked in since the switch to Paramount. And I thought that I would be, because it's like, you know, you essentially have quote unquote free fights if you're a Paramount subscriber, which I am. And you don't have to pay for it on pay-per-view anymore. I feel like the fact that this fight is free with the subscription, combined with the fact that it is going to be at the White House, if they're able to start this event and get it off and finish this event, I think this is really, really big for the UFC. And I think that's why they're going to do everything in their power to have this event go on, because this is huge exposure for the sport.
Yeah, I'll be tuned in. Like I said, I think it's an exciting card. You know, Ilya Topuria might be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, so you get to see him take on Justin Gaethje, who he beat Patty the Batty for the opportunity here, which I'm a Patty the Batty guy, so I didn't like that. But that was a great fight. But yeah, it's an exciting card, I think, so I'll tune in.
All right. How much baseball have you been watching this year? So we'll be followed by the Reds. They're gonna play the Diamondbacks. First pitch at 1:40. The coverage is gonna start right as we get off the air around 1:10. The Reds won yesterday. They lost the game before to the Diamondbacks, so this is the rubber match. But they have lost 7 of their last 9. They're in last place in the Central standings. I actually went up to a Guardians game Tuesday night. They're playing the Yankees. The Yankees swept them. I'm a Yankees fan, so I won't rub that in. But it seems like before the season started, a lot of people saw the Guards and the Reds in like a similar light.
Mm-hmm.
Guards still doing just fine despite, you know, getting swept earlier this weekend by the Yanks.
Dealing with some injuries, though.
But yesterday, whoa, was a lot. I saw our boy on Twitter, McNeely.
Yes.
He was like, if there's anyone in Cleveland that has any baseball experience, like go ahead and try out for the Guards, because they're in a lot of pain. But I think the Guards will be okay, depending on how long J-Ram's going to be out. But this Reds team, I mean, I know there's a lot of baseball left. They're only 69 games into the season. not looking good considering the division that they're in.
Yeah, they're in a very tough division. They're a few games below 500 now. What are they, 36 and 39 or something like that?
33 and 36.
33 and 36.
Yes.
I mean, you got to start swinging the bats. Like, the bats got to get going, and they got to start winning right now. I mean, it's still tight across Major League Baseball. Like, they're in a good division, but they're just a few games under 500, so it's still within grasp making the playoffs. But you got to get going, and hopefully that spark starts today. They're able to take down the Diamondbacks and win that series and take off a little bit. You know, hopefully they get Hunter Green back at some point too. So that'll be a big addition. But yeah, got to swing those bats down there.
Right, like the other Ohio team we mentioned, the Guards, they're 39 and 33. They're first place in the AL Central. They won their last two against Detroit. But like we mentioned, Isaiah, you're a Guards fan. What's up with Jose Ramirez? Did he break a bone in his hand? Is that what happened?
That hamate bone.
Yeah, the hamate bone. Everyone that I've seen online said like it's typically like a 4 to 6 week recovery, so a little over a month. But not having Jose Ramirez in the Guardians lineup, clearly a huge deal for a Guardians team that consistently lacks offensive firepower. But one thing I know about the Guards, they just find a way. And I hope that when Jose's out for the however long it is, they'll be able to have the pitching staff. Parker Messick's been really good. Be able to step up a little bit. Cade Smith coming on as of late as well.
Daniel Espino up there, their number one pitching prospect, working out of the bullpen. But you're right. They need to find a way offensively without Jose.
Yeah, and it seems like they always do. So like I said, coming up next, Reds against Diamondbacks. Thanks for listening to us on a Fan Sports Sunday.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate.